That's a good segue into what I was just about to ask you. What are the implications of this new energy being available to, let's say, for example, a third world country?
Well, that's part of this. The 60% nonprofit, I can tell you how I want to break it up. So it does create a fair and healthy world. 60% of the profits from this new energy invention will be royalties, because we surely don't want to build everything. All we're going to do is issue, to build it. And we want to collect 10% of the royalties for it, which means right now the energy invention will be implemented, say, at 30% of the cost for upstream. 10% goes to this entity that we want to set up. 60% of that goes to help third world countries and rebuild a middle class around the world. 60% of it. 10% of it goes to the validation company, because they're going to have to set up all the different engineering labs around the world. You'd be in charge of the technical aspects to it. And so they have a lot of work, and they're going to have to share the engineering knowledge, help with people, so they don't get that for free. There's a lot of work involved in that. It's like setting up a company. They're going to be the engineering portion to the company, okay? If you call this new entity a company, the Siemens or GE is going to hopefully be the engineering portion to this company. Then a very, very large international law firm, they're going to get 10%. And they're going to be in charge of all the legal work around the world. There's going to be a lot of it. I can just tell you guys don't understand, but a huge amount of it. So they're going to earn their 10%. 10% I want to go to a country like India. Would be very great. The largest democracy in the world. They're starving for electricity, and they have 4 times the amount of people the United States has. So it would be nice for them to get the extra benefit, and they could act as the ambassadors. I'd love to use the United States as the ambassador, but we've become so crooked. And we can say, well, God, I'm anti-Trump. No, I'm not. I'm anti-Hillary, I'm anti-Trump, I'm anti all of it, okay? Because what we've done is we're destroying the future for you young people. And if you don't think so, how many jobs are out there? How many of you don't have jobs? How many of you decided don't go to college because there's no jobs available through the college? It doesn't make any sense. I'm not saying it's all like that, but you know what? It's pretty bad. It's very bad. In the 70s when I graduated, hell, I had 10 companies look for me. Today, y'all's begging for jobs. For what reason? There's no reason. You guys are smart, okay? So 10% to go to India to help them get a kickstart and bring up there. Hopefully India, yes. And 10% of it comes to me, but not me. It goes to setting up a county department. It's shared between a few people that help. And if there's too much money, then I'm talking about we don't want much, just a little bit, get our money back and a few dollars. And I'm talking a few dollars. I want to buy a house up north, help make sure my grandkids can go to college, and my God, live a few years and be done. That's all I give a shit about. So that 10% sets up an accounting department, pays the board, does all the other things besides the engineering and the other. So if I'm lucky, I get 1%, and I can tell you if I get extra money, you know what my big thing is in life? To help single moms, because they've been stuck with a burden in a lot of cases that are horrible. So if I collect too much money for me, which isn't that much anyway, I will make sure it goes to help single moms around the country. So that's my goal. That's how this thing would get distributed, and that 60% will help rebuild a middle class. These companies that do work on this will have to pay top union wages, but it isn't so much this energy invention. Guess what happens if this energy invention goes? Guess what the domino effects are? If we're smart as a world, and if the young people stand up for it. Desalination plants around the world for fresh water. 60% of the people live close to oceans. Guess what? This powers desalination plants. What's wrong with why don't we have a lot of desalination plants? Cost of energy is too much.
Desalination, for any of you who don't know what it is, it's taking salt out of salt water and making it drinkable water.
So around the ocean, 60% of the people live. We have 60% of the planet right now. I don't know why 60 keeps coming up, but 60% of the planet is facing water shortages in the near future. I don't know if you guys know how. It isn't just California, China, India, all over the world they're facing it. Britain it looks like they may have major water shortages. So this is going on all over the world. There's people starving, not just in Africa. This is everywhere. And also then China's polluted their country so bad, 25% of their agriculture. They can't farm. Look these things up on the internet. So what did they do? They didn't try to fix that. They went out and bought a bunch of land in Africa and Australia to feed their country. So they're just skipping through the problem and going out and doing other things. And you can look and see they're buying huge portions of land in Australia, like huge. You know, they're just north of them, and also Africa. So we're having companies and countries act very irresponsible around the world.
Not only that, but the United States is pretty irresponsible too. If you look at the American Southwest, the countries, or I'm sorry, the states that are pulling water out of the Colorado River have drained that river dry. It literally does not flow to the Gulf of Mexico anymore. It used to at one time, but it does not. Not a drop reaches the ocean. A lot of that water is being pulled out for Phoenix and Los Angeles and Tucson and other places like that. Those cities are going to be ghost towns if something isn't done. Literally, Las Vegas will be a ghost town. There'll be no water, and if there's no water, there's no population.